Beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. How am I sounding, guys? How am I looking? On the looking front, I will go and say I've been looking at their metrics lately, and over the past, year or so, 6 months, I have noticed there was a declining in the metrics of females, and I figured we'd address that problem, and I finally got a new contact prescription, and as you guys can see, Handsome Jose is back. HH in the chat, please, for Handsome Jose. Nerdy Jose will come back from time to time whenever my eyes are dry or whatever, and I just don't feel like putting in contacts, but for now, Handsome Jose is back. Really, the thing that drove it was with the hair getting longer, the glasses, the frames were doing this stupid thing where, like, the hair was kind of glanced it a little bit, and then so it starts flipping up. And so now then I end up with this stupid fucking flippy thing, and I hated it. So I was like, I gotta get some contacts. That way it just kind of naturally, I mean, I don't like it kind of comes in my eye a little bit, but it's better than doing the stupid flip thing. So, hey, it is what it is. Plus, I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So the wife wanted me to get some contacts. That way, I don't know, whatever. It'll be nice for the vacation. It'll be nice. So I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna, which that, I guess, a little bit of a... few weeks out, I think it's the end of this month, there will be probably a little bit of a period of content time where you don't get much content, or really any content. Maybe I'll have some of the paywall content, I'll put it out in drips or something, but I don't know, it'll be like less than a week. But still, there'll be some time. I put in the PTO now. I'm warning you guys now, there's going to be a period of time. But either way, I am starting a little bit early this morning. So sorry if that affects anyone. If you guys plan around this, I went a little bit earlier because I am going on a daddy-daughter date today. So trying to get out of here a little bit earlier. So gonna take my 5-year-old daughter out to go shopping and go get some food. So looking forward to it. So I cut my morning routine a little bit short and got started a little bit early. So here I am with you guys, but so might try to keep a little bit on the shorter end too. But we have some stuff to go through today. Definitely we'll have stuff plenty for you guys for tomorrow too. I'm sure some of this will be, carry over till tomorrow. I see a bunch of y'all on the chat though showing up, even despite the fact we're a little bit early. Not a ton of y'all. I know I threw off the time. It is what it is, and more of y'all will roll in here soon. So good morning, Eddie Graham, HH. Good morning, Poyu. Good morning, Queen Calnads. Good morning, JMS. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's as I've been doing lately. I've been liking to do kind of like a video type thing, or kind of more of like a fun thing to start off with. I don't know. Oh hey, good morning, good fucking morning. Cue the danger. I did make it. I'd been the format for a long time. Had been like the foreign policy stuff at the front, and I still kind of like to lead sort of with that. But I want to lead, like actually lead with something. I don't know, a little more fun, a little more, I don't know, something more video-y-ish, something more engaging, something more catch the audience. So that's why we'll start with videos type thing and maybe more like a fun topic. So on that, I think we're going to start off today with continuing on our discourse from last week, carrying on to talk about the whole Thiel stuff with this creepy dude. Some of the clips that came out recently with the, I don't know, what did we cover? We covered the Antichrist angle last week. There was everyone was talking about the Antichrist, but one of the other clips going around is Thiel talking about essentially if he wants the human race to survive. So I figured this would be fun to kind of watch together. So here we go. This is one of those ones. Just a reminder here. This show is, kind of curated by you guys to a large degree, in some extent. I mean, obviously, like I come in here and try to cover like what the things I find are important, but you guys help keep me aware of what is important. Plus, there's a lot of crazy stories you guys let me know of, and I do try to cover the stuff you guys want me to. But point being is, if you are out there and you're like wondering, hey, how can I contribute to this show? Even if you don't want to do money, even if you just want to help in, I know content. This is one way you can do it. Just tag me and stuff. Just if you like, if you're someone who's on social media. I mean, preferably Twitter. I don't really do anything on anything else. But I guess if you're on Instagram, I don't know. I go on there occasionally. I don't even know how you would. I guess you can tag on Facebook. I guess you could do that too. But pretty much Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. Tag me and stuff. So someone tagged me in this, so that's why I'm playing this specific video. There were other clips. So if anyone wonders why I picked a video that also has someone commenting on it, because it's like this TikTok thing. So now we're here in this like commenting on a video of a guy commenting on a video, but sorry. Just letting you guys know why I bring that up, but also just a casual reminder that you guys can contribute to the show if you'd like. But let's go ahead and watch this video together.
I don't know who Peter Thiel's PR manager is, but they need to be fired. Like today. How can you allow your client, one of the most famous technologists in the world, to answer a question like this?
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would I
mean, I know I took the piss out of him last week, but I just still can't even just look at him. He just looks like he's dying. I don't know, if I were to describe what adrenochrome withdrawal or maybe being a regular adrenochrome with user look like, this is exactly 100% what I would think of. So let's keep going.
This is a long hesitation.
Also, yeah, you shouldn't hesitate on this question. I mean, I get it. I mean, in a certain sense, I get the sense of like, oh, I'm going to hesitate and be like, oh, it's a thoughtful answer. But it is really pretty... Well, you can give highfalutin answers here. At the end of the day, like, yeah, the answer should be just yes. Like, you want you could be like, oh, well, actually, there's an asterisk there, and what I mean by the human race is this. But, like, you still should ultimately be yes, because otherwise, what do you mean? Even if you are some weird transhumanist, which I guess I'll get into it still is creepy. You still should just be able to go, yes, I want the human race. Because even then, theoretically... You're still like, you're transforming the human race. And I guess you could say, well, is that even really the human race anymore? But like, it is. So just say yes and don't be a fucking weirdo.
This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in this.
the human race survive?
Yes.
I like that realization of like, oh, okay. Oh, we're not playing around here. Because, like, I feel like thinks he's being... I mean, I didn't watch this whole interview, to be fair, so I'm just catching this out of context. It looks like he's trying to be playful and fun, and I guess that is probably maybe the tone the interviewer set, but it's just funny because he's, like, asking, I don't know, you're putting him on the record saying some pretty crazy shit, and you're just kind of, kind of like a playful, goofy, I don't know. Just what, and then it just seemed like this sudden realization of, like, oh, shit, like, yeah, this is... I'm kind of looking kind of fucking weird here.
Okay,
but I also would I also would like us to radically solve these problems,
right.
And so it's always, I don't know, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And
this is like exactly like, I'm not even religious, I say this all the time, but it's like if a demon was talking through another person and like they weren't even doing a good job of covering up their intent, just like, I'm speaking through another human being, I'm Jeff now, you should try to create immortal bodies and do this is just seems like some demon shit.
There's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context.
He literally, even the interviewer kind of looks like the guy you'd imagine is like, I think I'm looking at a demon in a human body. Like, I don't know, just everything about Thiel, everything about him. All right.
A transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses, and a transsexual is someone where you change your a penis into a vagina. And we can then debate how well those surgeries work. But we want more transformation than that. The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change.
Man, this stuff really just is like, I don't know. I guess I see this and it just feels kind of sad and pathetic. Like, I get it in a certain sense, but it is like, this feels like, I know from my digging of like the Temple of Set stuff, like this feels like that ideology run amok, because it's like this like worship of ego. And I say this as someone who would identify philosophically as an egoist, but it's like, I don't, at the same time though, I recognize I will die and I have to come to terms with it. And it's like, I don't, and like, it's like, theirs is like, it seems like the elites of this world, like the Thiels, are like this parody of like what people think of like an egoism of like only thing that matters is me. It's like this idea of that, like, because like egoism's like this, almost like this Ayn Randian like recognition of that, like everything comes from your perspective and everything to some extent is a matter of incentives and what works best and what doesn't. And then a lot of people then take, what I think is improper, personally, conclusions or jumps from that and go, oh, well, then you do all these evil things because X, Y, Z. And you're like, well, I would take the position of like, no, I don't know. I don't really feel like that'd be a fulfilling way to live. And, case in point here, like, I don't want this man's existence. It looks tortured. But this is kind of like, this is what that is run amok. The idea of that, like, because everything's from my perspective and, for everything in a sense flows out from me, I am all there must be. I am God. I am, like, I don't know. It just is like this insane, like there's no limiting factor or something. Maybe it's because there are these trust fund kids that have this mentality. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what because it just seems like an illogical, conclusion to come, because it is like, you're not going to beat death. You're just not going to. Because it seems like these people have this idea that they're going to transfer their consciousness or this or that. Like, the only way you can beat death is through life, which I've already done. I've procreated. And it's like, you just kind of have to come to an understanding that, I mean, I guess it's easy for religious people because you're like, hey, yeah, but even then, even if you're someone who doesn't have religion, it's kind of like, you just have to kind of come to terms with, you're not going to exist. And like, I don't know, just maybe this is why these guys get caught up in legacy. And even then, I think it's this distorted form of legacy. This idea of like all these things that Thiel does, like, I don't know, I guess it's cool in some sense. It's like he's caught up, has this hang up of being viewed by the world as a great man. Whereas the only people I really care about being viewed as a great man in my life are my loved ones. So, I mean, I guess there is some part of the ego inside of me that's like, I would like everyone think I'm great, but at the same time, I don't know, if you have a proper view of, I think it is kind of like the concentric circles thing, and so I should also therefore care more about those within my tight circle of what they think. So like, I'm not, I don't know, I guess I'm not as hung up on I don't know, it's just a bizarre, I just can't even wrap my head around this way of thinking. It's like something went wrong, something happened to these people, and I guess this is where I guess like the idea of like things like DID and was it generational trauma and like what goes on with these weird elites, like that might be kind of the component I'm looking for, because it doesn't really make sense to me, because they do seem like intelligent people and you're like, what are you missing? Like, dude, you're gonna die and this is weird. And I don't know, I think if you kind of had a little bit of ability to look in the mirror, you'd see that we kind of a lot of us see this.
Change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body.
Remember, interviews are never just a conversation. You need to go in with a specific goal, and all your answers need to support that goal. What exactly was the goal here? No idea. And by the way, the correct answer to the question, should the human race survive, is yes, I would like that very much.
That is correct. That is the correct answer to that. And then a little bit of an addition to the what am I going to say? The Antichrist one we made fun of last week. This would be episode 560 for those if anyone wants to go back and watch it. I don't know if it was at the beginning. That might have been actually at the end, but I don't know. Maybe it's in the timestamps. Either way, we covered the funny thing of him talking about where this interviewer points out the obvious of like, hey, you're talking about this theoretical Antichrist, and it's like, yo, dude, like you're like kind of pointing out all the things about it, and you're like, it kind of sounds like you're perfectly pointing out like why maybe you could be. Just throwing it out there. Maybe you could be the Antichrist. And he's like, like he goes into his like native language, whatever that is. It's like these demonic screams. And then the human words form in his head, and then you go, oh, I don't think I'm the Antichrist. This is the little preamble we're about to watch, where I guess he kind of makes the point that Greta Thunberg would be more like the Antichrist, because I've seen this thing amongst and trust me, I've spent many days making fun of Greta Thunberg, and I totally get the angle, but it seems like the goy slop angle here we're getting is Greta Thunberg bad, and like I even see it come from like things like Piers Morgan, who's been a pretty good voice on the Gaza stuff lately, where it's like, what has she even done? And they're all just like really demeaning her, and like the angle is to kind of almost make her, I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm someone who also is like kind of hand waves the utility of protests and thinks it's kind of fucking gay. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Like, she seems nice. Seems like she's trying. Seems like a sweet girl. It just seems there seems to be this angle of like really, and I don't know. There is something like I do think she does bring awareness, and there's probably some. But like they act like she's just like doing, it's almost like a bad thing, whatever she is. Like she does more harm than good, and like this whole like, oh, this for clicks, and you're like, I don't know. For one, you're like, maybe she's doing it for clicks, and this whole idea that like if therefore something, I guess this kind of ties back into the egoism discussion. Like if something is, it's this idea of like, oh, you're doing it for clicks, therefore bad, and you're like, well, okay, I mean, they can be true. I mean, obviously the idea is to get incentives to align in a good way, but. I know this. I don't know. Whatever. It just seems. I just find it very bizarre. The punching bag that they've tried to make Greta Thunberg lately. When like I don't know. If anything, I found her more endearing in time lately. Just kind of like I don't. I mean, yeah, it seems a little dumb, I guess, but I don't know. The flotilla thingy. It seemed like it probably helped in some abstract way. I know. I don't even understand the arguments that people have that they're like she's evil or some dumb shit. But let's watch this.
So the atheist philosophical framing is one world or none. That was a short film that was put out by the Federation of American Scientists in the late 40s. It starts with a nuclear bomb blowing up the world, and obviously you need a one world government to stop it. One world or none. And the Christian framing, which in some ways is the same question, is Antichrist or Armageddon. You have the one world state of the Antichrist, or we're sleepwalking towards Armageddon. One world or none, Antichrist or Armageddon, on one level are the same question. Now,
keep in mind, this dude's married to a man. This is like this weird Jordan Peterson phenomenon, and I just want to stress, far be it, I don't really give a shit if people marry men. I'm not religious. It just is. It's the Jordan Peterson effect, where we're going to cloak our beliefs in religion while not really being religious, and you kind of create this like third, even more fucked up thing. I don't know. It's literally, I guess, ironically, from my recollections of my time in the church, it's like, yeah, I know kind of exactly what you would think the Antichrist would do. But let's go on.
I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, but sort of one question is, and this was a plot hole in all these Antichrist books people wrote, how does the Antichrist take over?
I do have to say I love that this, I don't really know much about this guy, but something about him, he just strikes me as very much the everyman. Like, he just looks like he's not like horribly out of shape or ugly or just kind of just an everyman, and just kind of asking, so I like this, and then you have basically the literal Antichrist across from him, and he's asking just the obvious question.
How does the Antichrist take over the world? It's he gives these demonic, hypnotic speeches, and people just fall for it. And so it's this plot hole. It's this daemonium.
It's totally.
The funny thing though is it's like I say this, but at the same time, like Thiel's sort of doing that, but he's like, as he just pointed out, like I think he thinks he's doing that, but it's like he's not. Because what does he say here? He says people just fall for it. He gives these demonic, hypnotic speeches. And I feel like he thinks he's doing that. And it's like in his head, he's like, I'm being so fucking slick by saying this right now. Like the literal, it's like when I was in high school and like I came home stoned and my mom's like, what are you doing? What did you do? It's like, I just came back from my friend's house smoking weed and like, and then like, and that's literally what I did in my head. And I'm like, that was so fucking slick. I mean, you're like, no, it wasn't. Like, that's what this feels like. Like, no, like you're not good at this. I mean, maybe it's an IQ test. Maybe there are a lot, because this guy has sunk his teeth in to a lot of different realms, and a lot of people do seem to speak on him with like this Elon Musk type factor. So, which I think that's just as fake and gay too. But yeah, so I mean, maybe dumb people do fall for this, but I don't know, to me, it just is almost like even funnier. Because you're like, dude, I think you're trying to be the Antichrist, but not doing a very good job of it. Or maybe this is just how like the end of the world is, just like a mix between Idiocracy and like one of those random Antichrist movies or whatever, where you're like, you know, it's just literally like all the semi-smart people are just like, I'm not even that fucking smart. Like, how are you guys all falling for this? Like, and they're like, no, this guy's legit.
Speeches and people just fall for it. And so it's this plot hole. It's this daemonium.
Right. It's implausible.
It's a very implausible plot hole.
Right.
But I think we have an answer to this plot hole. The way the Antichrist would take over the world is you talk about Armageddon nonstop. You talk about existential risk nonstop. And this is what you need to regulate. It's the opposite of the picture of Baconian science from the 17th, 18th century, where
it's funny. I'm pretty sure. I feel like Thiel does this. I mean, I might be wrong. I get that he's saying obviously what they're building to is that like somebody like Greta is like, oh, they're saying that the world's going to end. But even then, I think I haven't really dug enough into his philosophy. But I think his philosophy is kind of that like they need a new enlightenment, or we've stagnated, or I don't know, whatever. Let's keep watching this video.
You know, the Antichrist is like some evil tech genius, evil scientist who invents this machine to take over the world. People are way too scared for that. In our world, the thing that has political resonance is...
Oh, I'm retarded. He was saying like, oh, these are what people think.
The opposite. It is the thing that has political resonance is we need to stop science. We need to just say stop to this. And this is where, yeah, I don't know. In the 17th century, I can imagine a Dr. Strangelove, Edward Teller type person taking over the world.
This is what this comes back to, is this like a monopolistic idea, this technocratic idea that they won't really say it, but it really is this idea. Because this is, and then you'll see these guys too, though, in the same breath, they'll argue about like the AI war against China. And one point I always like to bring up is, and one thing that came up with that AI war is if you look at a lot of the principles being applied, ironically, in China, when it comes to their AI building up, is a lot of them is free market. They're utilizing the principles of the free market to be able to create a much more robust product. And that seems to be what's occurring over here. Whereas we're doing these things, I forget, like you look at, I mean, I'm getting ready to actually have my buddy Clint on here tomorrow to talk about Palantir. But look at what all Palantir's moved into. I forgot what the fuck my point was. Where was I even going? I got lost in the sauce. Damn it, there's too much going on here. All right, let's...
So the atheist...
That's the end of that. Let's move on to... Here's more from Robert I can never say it. Skivarla. He's got a pretty good size account on Twitter. Good follow. It says, also worth noting from that Thiel interview are his thoughts on Charles Manson. Says, sure, it's always... Oh, I remember what my fucking rant was. It was about the idea that they're built... What we're doing over here in the United States is this monopolistic technocratic thing, which they've been pretty open about it. I forget how much they gave. Some ridiculous, insane amount they gave. I think Altman or whatever. I forget what his shit's name. I can't keep track of all this nerd shit. But point being is these guys are like the framework they're building upon is like, while they do put themselves out as these like libertarians, but these are government contractors who are literally trying to essentially create some sort of like technocratic feudalism, because they're trying to essentially get huge swaths of like a fuckload of money. They're trying to invest in this in a in a monopolistic sense, essentially like a few just government contractors are the ones that they're going to invest all this money into to corner the market. And the theory being is that like, oh, if we just pick the best, if we choose the best horses from the beginning of this race and we just juice all our shit into them, these guys are going to fly through the competition. But the problem is it's not how that fucking works. And like the whole principles of this nation were set on the exact opposite. The irony of us being a modern empire is because of this, 100-year period where we had like basically no taxes and we're like super like we're going to get blown the fuck out by the rest of the world doing this. Like this idea of that we're going to like have a handful of companies and that we're just going to steal money from everybody and essentially not allow any free market principles to come into place here whatsoever, and just completely have this artificial hand of the government come in and say what does and does not need to be done. You're setting yourself up for ruin. That's not going to work. So that's kind of what I was getting at. That's where he's coming from with a lot of this, is his ultimate belief system. So it's just that there's this like futuristic cataclysm, and we need to innovate our way out of this future problem, essentially. So the irony here is like a lot of these tech nerds, he's pointing to like Greta as like, oh, she's pointing to these future cataclysms and is always worried about this and that. And you're like, yeah, you're doing the same thing. And I guess in his head, he's conceptualizing as like, well, I want to keep going science and she wants to stop science. And you're like, even then, even from another, looking at it from a different axis, I guess you'd say, you're like, okay, well then there's let's say we want to do that. Maybe we would say I agree. I actually I want technology to advance. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a transhumanist per se, but I don't want to do it in this way, because I think how we get these weird, creepy, fucked up shit is because the government steals money from me and then gives it to these weird technocratic fucking weirdos that aren't even really like these like Ayn Randian heroes. These are people who were born with money and they are not operating in any sort of real free market that has, wins and losses. They are government contractors. Like, so it's all fucked up. Is my point. These are weird fucking spooks. But anyways, let's read this. So this is from, what's this from again? This is Thiel's thoughts. It's from another interview. His thoughts on Manson. I thought it was particularly interesting. Thiel, sure, it's always in a context. He said, we had this really complicated history with the way nuclear technology worked. And okay, we didn't really get to a totalitarian one-world state, but by the 1970s, one account of the stagnation is that the runaway progress of technology had gotten very scary, and that Baconian science ended at Los Alamos. And then it was, okay, it ended there, and we didn't want to have any more. And when Charles Manson took LSD in the late 60s and the murder started, what he saw on LSD, what he learned was that you could be like an anti-hero in a Dostoevsky book and everything was permitted. Now, to be fair, I feel like I've read something Dostoevsky before, but I don't fucking remember. Point being, I don't really get the reference, but it sounds like the implication here is kind of the idea of, it's like in comic book nerds out here, there's like one storyline, Deadpool murders the Marvel universe. There's like one story where he's just like, oh, it's all fake. It's all a comic book. I'm a character in a story. I can do whatever. Ha and he just like kills everyone. I think that's kind of what he's getting at a little bit there, which I do think there's something to that in the Processian. I think I just peered over the chat and I saw Dana in there, so maybe she has some thoughts, and we'll get to those in a minute. But there's definitely, I think there's something to that in the Processian outlook on the world. It's almost as if like none of this is real, which in a certain fucked up way is, I guess, almost a way you could look at some of the simulation theory. But even then, I kind of come back to that, like, that's also just a stupid way to look at it. Like, even if you were someone that was like, oh, this is like a book and I can do whatever and this is all fake. And you're like, yeah, but you live in it though. So like, it's not fake. So you're like living in it. Like, so you're going to have to deal with these consequences. So like, and you may just not exist after that. So may not work out so well for you. But anyways, point being, spooky for sure. Keeps going. Of course, not everyone became Charles Manson, but in my telling of the history, everyone became as deranged as Charles Manson, and the hippies took over. And then, actually, this is the same interview because Doodle is the guy's name. He said, but Charles Manson did not become the Antichrist and take over the world. We're ending in the apocalyptic, and says, but my telling of the history in the 1970s is the hippies did win. We landed on the moon in July of 1969. Woodstock started 3 years later, and with the benefit of hindsight, that's when progress stopped, and the hippies won. And yeah, it was not literally Charles Manson. Yeah, and I just want to throw this in on the ass end of my coverage because I feel like it perfectly fits in with this same basic archetype. Here's the son of Norway's crown prince charged with rape. The Oslo's police attorney. I cannot go into further detail, but the number of victims in this case were beyond confirming that is a double-digit number. So yeah, this guy is and if you're a listener, you're not getting the full experience here. If you see the guy, you get it. You're immediately like, oh, I get what you're saying here, Jose. Like this is exactly the guy you would imagine rolling up in probably that exact same suit, on some sort of nice-looking horse with like all sorts of nice little courments and whatever all over the horsey and like braids in it, and he's coming up with a club in his hand to like murder a child. Like that's exactly the kind of guy I would imagine. And like, yeah, this is a dude who he's like a top scorer at like the hunt parties, where all the elites get together and they like hunt down murder and rape children and all that, like in like as if they're literally the world's most dangerous game, although they're not very dangerous because they're children. And I don't know, I could probably take like hordes of children easily. We could fuck them up. But this guy's like a top scorer, like for sure. You just see him, you get it. I see people in chat already saying Joffrey Baratheon, but I feel like that perfectly fits into with this Thiel coverage. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These kind of fucking weirdos. That's exactly what I think Thiel is. All right, we'll get into foreign policy now that we had that fun little break off into whatever the fuck that is. Let's roll through the chat, see what all you guys got to say. Glowy Niggers Pick, good morning. My favorite name. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Rod and Jules. Maybe Tom O'Neill could tell us since they're buddies. Yeah, I mean, it's funny he talks about me. That's even another element to the Manson thing here that I think, I'm pretty sure Dana's contention here is that he doesn't really doesn't tend to like to bring up Scientology and Manson a whole lot. And it's weird how what buddies Tom O'Neill is with this raging degenerate homosexual, which once again don't care about the gay thing. I'm just saying, dude is weird. Scrolling through. Some Poyo says, I love how someone with your perspective can see it. I don't even get why anyone would want to live forever. I want to live to see my grandkids, and after that, I'm good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I would like to live in the sense of being able to continue to see like my progeny, but yeah, I guess you get bored after a while. I don't know. I'll be honest. I feel like whenever I do die, I'll probably be like, bummer. I would have liked to have lived longer, but it is what it is. You do what it is. I have no control over this. I'm just going to try to live long. So I don't know. Maybe by the end, I'll be like, maybe there is a God, and I'll be like, I guess it's this one. Whatever. Marnimac says my dog just freaked out when you made that demonic noise. Yeah, that is like, notice though that like weird screeching noise. I was thinking about that before. Like that's got to be a comedic bit because it is like there's a few times I've heard Thiel do that. Like that's like his stammering thing. Like he does this weird it literally is like as if like the demon is clawing out like verbally. You're like, what is going on? It's very odd. People are asking about Galaxy, saying something about Galaxy Quest. I guess I made a Galaxy Quest reference. Mia Rosalina says, morning. This has quickly become my favorite podcast / morning news recap. Thank you. That's what I try to do. Thank you, Mia. That's so sweet. I was just kidding about the lady audience, but maybe I do have a lady audience. I don't actually really look at the metrics like that. That was just made up. Someone says, do you think Thiel is the top or bottom? I don't know. That's I don't know if he's human, frankly. But yeah, I don't want to think. Everyone's saying I don't want to think too much about that. I don't really want to think about too much about that either. Scrolling through. Definitely looks like a rapist and a royal, but the look goes hand in hand, 100%. Have you ever looked into how Brian Johnson, the guy who wants to live forever, is funded by Thiel? Yeah, it's the Ambrosia company, I think, right? This is one I want to look into. But I'm always a little bit off-put by it because it seems like everyone gets super gay and like super leans into all the conspiracy shit too much with that one too quick. Because everyone immediately goes, just like adrenochrome. You're like, not really. And like, I don't know. I guess from a medical perspective, because the idea is, isn't that the one where they like get like young blood? And it's like, okay, like that does sound, it's like transfusions. And it's like, that's creepy. I don't like that. But it's like, it's also like, I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be something more there. I mean, it's creepy. I don't really like it. It's icky, but it's like, it just is like, there's not, I need some substance. It seems like everyone just leans into like, but that's gross, right? And you're like, that is weird. That is gross. But like, I need something, there needs to be something else here more than just that. Are they isolating certain parts of it to fucking, I don't know, do adrenochromes? I don't know. Like, I need something more. Are they, doing crazy stuff to the young kids before they take the blood? Like, if it's just taking blood, I guess how the question would be, I think it's supposed to be young men, I think they're taking it from too. So I guess that really the question would be too, how they getting it. I don't know. It would be something I have to look into, but I'm always a little bit off put whenever I see people dig into it, because it immediately gets into super gay, like, and immediately just leans into like, well, this is just like adrenochrome, isn't it? You're like, yeah, kind of, but like, can you give me something of substance here instead of just saying it's like that? Because that's nothing to tell anybody about, really. Scrolling through, pure Thiel equals the reptile. Yeah. Your demon noise is what the aliens in Galaxy Quest sound like. Oh, okay. He's a fucking vampire is what they were saying. Okay, I get it. So they got that. I haven't seen Galaxy Quest in a long time, so I did not get that reference. All right, let's get into some foreign policy. Now we had our fun. Our fun is over. Let's get into it. I know we talked about, I wanted to just let you guys know about this one. Just guys, so you guys are aware of the degree to which we were involved and at what points. Not that I guess it matters too much now, but and I guess it was just because I have something I had covered on the show. I guess the U.S. did refuel Israeli jets throughout the Iran war. So this was something that was occurring. Which we knew. I mean, obviously we ended up bombing at the end, so it's like, but the thing was we were acting like before that we were in this position where like we're not involved, but we're going to be, but we'll shoot down missiles. So it was like a defensive, which I can understand. A lot of people, even the anti-war people, were like, oh, you shouldn't do that. And like, I guess you shouldn't. I'd prefer my mind not to be, but I get the argument. I'm not really too upset, but that one's like, whatever. Hey, like, I'm going to stop you from trying to murder people, and I'm not even going to, that I can get. But now when you're getting into the business of literally refueling them, which is what we were doing, which I know I talked about this before. I said this would likely be just like the Yemen stuff with Saudi Arabia. And I guess I was partially right for a period of time. We were refueling them. We were enabling them to do what they were doing, just not in an offensive. So we were going past defensive, not quite too offensive, obviously up until the bombing. And we were at like a supportive, so in the refuel. So, which that is like, I think where you cross the line personally. So in like a very real sense, like there's not really a good argument in my opinion at that point. When you're refueling their jets that are going to then go and drop bombs on the other country. It's a lot different than when you are shooting down the bombs being shot over by a country. So just throwing that out there, although I guess it kind of doesn't matter, but I just think it's worthwhile so you guys are aware of how this game is played, because they basically would have probably not even been able to do this without us. So this idea that, I mean, I don't know, obviously I don't know offhand what their fleet of refuelers looks like, but I would almost just stand to assume that the Israeli military is probably just literally structured around the assumption that it's always going to be in conjunction with the U.S. military. Because things like refuelers are a necessary component of stuff like this. So they probably just would not have been able to sustain doing this over and over and over again. The rubber would have hit the road a lot quicker. I mean, things probably just would have gone a lot differently. I just kind of think probably wouldn't be able to do it at all. If they didn't have our money spigot, our military support, I'm sure they were getting intelligence sharing as well. So, yeah, we were involved the entire time. So, in which on that note, Iran apparently decided to call its initial attack on Israel the Red Wedding, which kind of add to the kind of the point I'm driving at here is the deceptive nature of all this. For those who recall, when this first started off, I guess we'll just read the full piece for this one, because I think it'll kind of give us a reminder of the timeline here and how things played out. And because this is the part I keep coming back to, and I've said this, I don't know how many times it started, because there's only two real, in my opinion, narratives. A two with a third, but the third is only some combo between the two. So essentially, really only two. I guess it's a spectrum between the two of the options. And the two options here are, from the jump on this red wedding that I'm about to rehash for you guys. When this started, roughly around that time, either the U.S. had essentially coaxed Israel or Iran into this point the entire time, and this was the plan the whole time to essentially take diplomacy, international diplomacy, and use that as a fake for war, for murder. And so the option is they either were engaged in the deception, or the other option is they were completely, to some degree, obviously, I think it's completely unreasonable that they wouldn't have got told within like 24 hours, but up into, some reasonable period of time, that they got essentially blindsided, and then Israel was like, fuck you, we do what we want, and then Israel just completely spit in our face. So those are your two options, and they're both not great options, especially if you look back with how things unfolded. Both options make, if you're a big fan of Donnie, he looks like a bitch both ways. I guess different flavor of bitch, depending on which way you want to look at it. Either he's the kind of skeevy dude who would, completely undermine decades of good faith diplomacy with the United States, at least a perception of it, in the most brazen act of deception I probably could really even think of, and essentially enable all sorts of people to get murdered, all for what? Israel, basically. Or, so bitch. And then the other option is, or he basically, I guess is more direct bitch. And they're just like, no, Israel's just like, we're going to do what we want. And they're like, okay, well, what do you need me to do, I guess? You need me to bomb Iran now? Okay, I guess I'll bomb Iran. And then you just kind of, it's even more like, dude, you're just Israel's bitch. So let's read this. According to the Wall Street Journal, Israel codenamed its initial attack on Iran that killed senior military leaders Red Wedding, referring to a gruesome massacre from the book series Game of Thrones, which was adapted into a TV series on HBO. In a Red Wedding scene, one family murders the members of the other, including a pregnant woman. During a wedding feast, a surprise attack that relies on betrayal and deception. Israel's attack also relied on deception, as it used the cover of nuclear attacks between the U.S. and Iran to catch Tehran off guard. Israel attack was launched on Friday, June 13th, 2 days before the U.S. and Iran were set to hold another round of nuclear negotiations. According to the Journal report, part of the ruse involved Israel officials leaking stories to the media about a split between Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, but the possibility of Israel attacking Iran, which obviously you guys, if you follow the show, you're aware of that too. We were like, hey, this is the stuff floating around. This was very real. So I don't know, I guess if this was a good faith, then that was, I don't know, I guess that was, I don't know, whatever. Let's keep going. Trump and Netanyahu had a phone call on June 9th, the day after the day the Journal report said Israel had decided to launch the attack on June 13th. Axios reporter Barak Ravid, a former IDF intelligence officer, reported the day after the call that an Israeli official and a U.S. official told him that Trump expressed to Netanyahu that he believed he could reach a nuclear deal with Iran and oppose military action at that time. So keep in mind, Barak Ravid is, as he mentioned here, former IDF. So the point being is you can't really completely trust it. So, that was what was being spread around, that he was like, oh, we can still reach it. So, you could interpret that as like fake bluster for the purposes of, keeping Iran off guard. According to the Journal, in the days of the attacks, Trump told reporters that the U.S. and Iran were fairly close to an agreement and that he didn't want the Israelis going in, and Israeli officials told reporters they would wait to see the results of the next round of U.S.-Iran nuclear attacks before talking. And this is on the day, and this is according to the Journal. So this is, according to them, Trump literally told them this. So this was day of. They were fairly close to the agreement that he didn't want the Israelis going in the day of. So actually, I don't even know how you can really kind of come to any sort of reasonable understanding that he wasn't And frankly, I mean, even if he got told that day, and then he's still within 24 hours, Trump is telling him within 24 hours, because he had to have known. There's no way in fuck that he didn't know on the day of. There's no way. They were moving at there were already stories out about us moving assets, and the reason why I think he'd even said that is because everyone was like, what the hell's going on? We're seeing all these things being moved. A lot of people are these rumors that maybe they're getting ready to attack, blah 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 blah, and they're like, no, like I don't want Israel to go in, and we're close to an agreement. So like that's God, it's so gross looking back, but he knew there's no way in hell he didn't know at that point. That's okay. Which is a point I've said over and over again. I don't know. The more I think about it, it's like, yeah, he knew the day of he knew. So he engaged in the deception, which is where international peace talks of a deal. So I don't know, insane. The Journal report said the key to deception, said a security official familiar with the planning of the operation, was the idea planted in the minds of the Iranians that Israel wouldn't strike without U.S. authorization and participation. It's just, I can't get over every time this comes up, every time and I know we're reading it from anti-war. It's just like, they're like describing this like it's genius. Like, I get it, you lied. Like, it's just like, and they frame this as like a genius operation or whatever. It's like, they frame this as if this was like there was some active war going on and someone pulled off some crazy cool fucking operation, and which like, sure, if you're like active hostilities and you're like, it's like, and you pull off some sort of deception or espionage or fake info or whatever, but this was international talks. Like, this is, I don't know. This is the whole point is that you're supposed to be able to interact in good faith with other nations. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. As long as the U.S. wasn't mobilizing its forces and was engaged in negotiations, Israel could threaten to attack and even mobilize its troops in plain sight of Iran without giving away the element of surprise. Hours before Israel's bombing campaign started, Trump wrote on Truth Social that he was still committed to a diplomatic solution with Iran. I guess maybe the way he could say that is that, even I still was, even though they attacked him. Because he was even like, that was one of the weird things throughout all of this, is Trump was, even when he was bombing, was, come back to the peace table, Iran. You're like, dude, you are literally bombing us right now. The Journal report said Israeli warplanes were already getting in the air when he made the post. As Israeli planes were on their way to Iran, senior Iranian Air Force officials began to mobilize and end up gathering together in the same place where they were hit by Israeli missiles. Surprise attack on Iran's military leaders killed multiple senior officials, including Mohammad Bagheri, the chief of staff of the Iranian Armed Forces, and Hossein Salami, the commander of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In its initial strikes on Iran, Israeli warplanes also fired missiles into the homes of Iranian nuclear scientists. The homes of Iranian nuclear scientists. Homes of scientists. Warplanes, missiles, homes, scientists. The missiles, scientists. Family, homes. Like, this is, yeah. And that attack was dubbed Operation Narnia, a reference to C.S. Lewis series, because the planners initially thought it was a fantastical operation. Israel also hit Iranian air defenses with drones launched from inside the country, and the Journal report said the success of the initial attack, which lasted about 4 hours, was thanks to Israel building up its intelligence assets within Iran over the past few decades. So yeah, I still stand by fuck Trump. So anytime all these people, trust planners, this, that, they're like, just remember this. Remember that you guys were, Israel proudly calls this the Red Wedding. We are the phrase? What, were we the phrase in this situation? God. So fucking gross. I think it was the phrase, right? There was the river lords or whatever that kind of controlled the opening. The one son promised to marry the one daughter or whatever. I'm pretty sure the phrase, yeah. And they were just gross. They were like, kind of, if anything, that was the whole thing. They were looked down upon, but they were kind of in a really unique position of power due to their geography. I don't know, pretty on the nose of Israel here. So yeah, I don't know, pretty on the nose. Pretty good name. I'll give a pretty good name for that one. Kind of wild. They're proud of it. So, and then with all that, U.S. approves $510 million arms deal for Israel. I mean, how else are they going to murder all those brown people? Fun stuff. And then here we go. The Israeli military admits to killing Palestinian civilians near aid sites in Gaza. So thank goodness they finally admitted to it, as if we weren't able to figure that out after days and 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 days of dozens of people dying every single day at just the aid places. So let's go ahead and read this. Israeli military admitted on Monday that forces have killed Palestinians in Gaza near aid sites run by the U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, but claimed the death toll from Gaza's health ministry was exaggerated. The admission came after the Israeli newspaper Haaretz reported that Israeli troops had been given orders to fire on unarmed Palestinians attempting to reach GHF distribution sites to drive them away or disperse them, even though they pose no threat. The Israeli military has denied there are orders to fire on unarmed aid seekers and is claiming that its forces only use gunfire when they feel threatened, though the IDF is not claiming that any of the Palestinians that opened fire on near the aid sites were armed. Here's a photo of someone wounded. The IDF said that in small number of cases, Palestinians were hit by Israeli fire, and in at least 3 incidents, aid seekers were hit with Israeli artillery, causing 30 to 40 casualties, including several dead. The IDF said the casualties did not need to happen and claimed they weren't intentional, although testimony from Israeli soldiers speaking to Haaretz makes clear they were intentionally firing on civilians. Based on Gaza's health ministry's latest numbers and the killing of Palestinians near aid sites on Monday, more than 600 aid seekers have been killed in Gaza since the GHF began operating at the end of May. While the IDF disputes the numbers, the figures align with daily reports coming out of Gaza, which have cited eyewitnesses, rescue workers, and medical staff at hospitals. Studies have also found the health ministry's overall death toll is likely a significant undercount. Trump administration recently announced it was providing the GHF with $30 million despite its role in the aid massacres. State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce was asked on Monday if the Israeli military's admission that it killed civilians near GHF sites would impact the funding, and she said no, then blamed Hamas for the massacres. She said, "Well, I think the answer to that is certainly no. The IDF and Israel have announced that they are, of course, investigating certain incidents. It's a good time for a reminder here that Hamas is responsible for the current situation in Gaza." What a fucking ghoul. And if there is a hell, she will rot in it. Here's 50 seconds from one of the Gaza aid lines. Figured I'd show you guys this. You guys can check it out. Get to check out these aid things for yourself. I don't know if I've showed you videos already, but here it is again. They're like literally in hordes laying down on the ground. I'm assuming this is where they're waiting till the lines open up, because then they like all run at once, and they're using the gunfire essentially to be like, don't come. And so they're literally all just huddled down, and I guess whenever one head pokes up, they and then I guess every now and then they let them through. By the way, I saw something actually early before we started. I should have probably brought it up, but I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it up tomorrow. I saw some claim from the IDF, some recordings saying that this was Hamas or something. But this is the first I've even heard claims otherwise. I mean, we just read how the IDF is even admitting that they are doing it. There's soldiers saying they did. It's funny, Bibi, I think, responded to some of this about the typical anti-Semitism. I can't remember who it was pointed out, but it was kind of funny to think about, like, oh, because it was reported in Haaretz. And the whole point of the story, the killing field story that we talked about, was it Friday, was that it was literally IDF soldiers. It was a handful of IDF soldiers reporting on this. So it was Jewish soldiers from a Jewish publication. So, but no, anti-Semitism. So, all right, let's keep watching this. Nope, this is what your tax dollars pay for. I hope you guys are happy. Here is, I guess it seems more and more Trump's social or truth socials are becoming the news. So here is from June 29th, what is that? That was Sunday. We got a tweet or truth from Donald Trump saying, "Make the deal on Gaza, get those hostages back, Donald J. Trump." Which, as Dave DeCamp aptly points out here, he says, cut off the military aid. That will force Israel to make a deal. So, which is true. So, which I just read earlier, just what we're already sending. We're sending, what was it? Something like $500 million? I forget what we read earlier. But yeah, we're sending them more money. And not only that, we're sending the GHF, the aid foundation, more money, even though the whole point of them starting is I think they weren't even getting money from us somehow. I forget how they started. So it's unique that now they're receiving money in one hand too, and also the fact that we're paying them money when what's happening is what's happening. So, all right. And then here we go. Here is this guy, Trump again, cucking out to Netanyahu. I think this is the second one. This is either the first or the second one. I think we covered the first one on Friday, but Trump's put out another Truth Social cucking for what's his face for Netanyahu, which is bizarre with his stuff going on over there. So let's read this one. I find it particularly just weird. I mean, it's odd. I mean, we just read that Gaza one. So it's like with all the shit. I mean, everyone remembers like what we had that Crowder thing we made fun of recently, where they gloated of, oh look, here's Trump getting all mad at Israel and stuff, and you're like, oh, he said fuck about Israel that one. He's super. Daddy's mad. Like, well, Daddy's now taking them on shopping sprees and stuff. So like, I don't think Daddy was ever really all that mad at his little princess. Honestly, I think. I don't know what that was. Maybe just Daddy was cranky that morning, but like it doesn't seem to really be making that much of a difference. So let's read this. As it is terrible what they're doing to Israel to Bibi Netanyahu. He's a war hero and a prime minister who did a fabulous job working with the United States to bring great success in getting rid of the dangerous nuclear threat in Iran. Importantly, he's right now in the process of negotiating a deal with Hamas, which will include getting the hostages back. Now, it is possible the Prime Minister of Israel can be forced to sit in a courtroom all day long over nothing. Cigars, Bugs Bunny doll, etc. It is a political witch hunt, very similar to the witch hunt which I was forced to endure. This travesty of justice will interfere with both Iran and Hamas negotiations. In other words, it is insanity doing what the out-of-control prosecutors are doing to Bibi Netanyahu. The United States of America spends billions of dollars a year, far more than on any other nation, protecting and supporting Israel. We are not going to stand for this. We just had a great victory with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu at the helm, and this greatly tarnishes our victory. Let Bibi go. He's got a big job to do. Now, I will say that some of the wording here is a little bit concerning. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to be a doomer or read too much into this, but I got to notice we are not going to stand for this. In the previous truth one, there was some language I recall that seemed to be heavily implicating like we're not going to allow this, or I mean, this could just be bluster, as you know, sometimes Trump is warranted to do at times. But it's also like, what does that mean? It makes me a little bit concerning that I know we kind of covered this narrative game, how these different camps, and there's this like simp camp. There's this Trump simp. Well, I guess not simp camp. Actually, it'd be the wrong way. But the what they were calling the Panicans. And this was the Bannons, the Kirks, not even the Kirk. Kirk was kind of right the line. Not Kirk. I meant to say, who's the other dude? Gates, like Gates, Bannon, Tucker. These are people that like, and even Gates is debatable, but these are people that have been a little bit more vociferous in their language against Israel. But one thing that keeps ringing in my mind is there was a couple of them who have said things along the lines of, oh, we don't want regime change in Iran. If anything, we should have regime change in Israel. And given how I've said, I'm a little bit concerned about some of these people. Tucker, given his connections, Posobiec, same for Bannon. You're like, and I understand how narrative games work. And I mean, think about how the Qatar talking point worked. How it was like literally they were dealing with the whole corruption shit in Qatar, where he was feeding money to them to pay off Hamas, and then it became, all these Qatari agencies. They have this tendency to invert things. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, this might be me getting a little bit crazy, but I'm a wee bit concerned that like perhaps we could see the early seeding of this, of like, oh yeah, fuck Israel, and like, yeah, that's right, fuck Israel. So like, let's go get Bibi out of prison. Wait, what? Wait, what? Or let's do this, or let's do whatever. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily we're gonna get boots on the ground in Israel and be like, fuck you. Like Bibi stays in power, and they're like, well, that's technically a regime change, sort of, since it would be like after the regime just got changed because he got busted by whatever legal process. But it would be like, oh, well, the previous regime didn't work, and by that it didn't work in the sense that it didn't allow Netanyahu to do enough or something. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I noticed these, and I'm a little bit concerned. Always keep an independent mind, and well, I do like the Tuckers, and it's cool that we're seeing this rhetoric. Always be prepared for a swerve, because you never fucking know. I mean, that sounds insane, but I don't know. All this, it wouldn't be surprised if they try to push this Israel hate somewhere, and people are dumb. So, I mean, like, the whole Qatari thing, that was kind of the dumb thing. It was literally as the corruption was going on, and everyone goes, well, you're just Qatari agents. And it's like, that's so fucking stupid. Especially, like, as I pointed out to me, I was deployed in Qatar. And like I say that, like, and everyone goes, oh, you're like, yeah, but like I was like, it's the largest deployed air base. It might even be the largest deployed location. I'm not sure. Like it's like we couldn't be. The United States really could struggle to be any more stronger of an ally, other than them being like, I mean, I don't know, other than being like Israel. So it's ridiculous. So yeah. All right, whatever. It's been a minute since I've gone through chat, and then we'll get into some of our main stories. And yeah, let's see what you guys got to say. Been a minute. Jose starting to turn full debunker. Should we order you? I don't even know what I was debunking. Scrolling through. Donald J. Trump. I didn't greenlight Israel to bomb Iran. I just refueled their bombers' jets midair. Yeah, exactly. 12-day war was to get out the media soup. With the Epstein ties, Elon was thinking about dropping. Perhaps. Ooh, that's a good point. Maybe I should, I guess I should. It's just kind of struggle to care. We'll cover that next in a second. Before we move on to like the titled topics, we'll cover the Elon shit real quick, because I threw some of that stuff together real quick last minute. So, Walder Frey was a pedophile in the books. Yeah, Frey. The fact Israel is praising him here is funny. Yeah, sure is. The whole op and every signal referencing it was occult coded, time of Trump's tweets, etc. I don't know. Trump lost me his shit, and he called up Candace Owens and tried to make her stop talking about that tranny in France. Yeah, I heard about that. That was a thing that happened. That apparently, I think she said that in her more recent episodes. I haven't watched it. That supposedly, I guess Trump did call her, because I guess he got word about the whole Macron thing, and Macron was all upset about it. So that's pretty funny. Let me see what else you guys got. What's up, Robin? See Robin in the chats. People are dumb. Best analysis of the issue. They are dumb. People are very dumb. All right, let's okay, here's what I was going to talk about, the Elon stuff. I mean, like, in certain sense, like, this is good. In a certain sense, it's like, it feels more like I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? More like a fell for it again catnip type deal. You're like, oh, darn, you guys fell for it again. You should come over here and fall for this again. So, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's Liam McCollum showing this interaction. Here's Elon saying, every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame. And they will lose their primary next year if it's the last thing I do on this earth. Justin Amash then replies, says, please support Representative Thomas Massey. The establishment is working to primary him because he's a genuine fiscal conservative and opposes the big bloated scam. It's the first time I've heard that one. Pretty good whoever came up with that. I doubt that was Justin's original idea. Elon goes, I will. And this is all a quote tweet of Liam saying, wouldn't it be great if Elon helped Representative Thomas Massey get reelected? So looks like we're seeing it happen. And then you see right here, you see Elon saying, quote tweeting someone saying, I donated to Representative Thomas Massey. Who's next? And then Elon says, me. Obviously, I guess I didn't say this at the beginning, but you guys remember too when it comes to this stuff, the whole Massey thing that currently Trump is putting out words that he's putting together, I think, a PAC and all sorts of stuff to try to fight against Massey. I think I have a bookmark somewhere. Maybe we'll cover it tomorrow. One of the people that are getting ready to challenge him. And if so, if anything, it might be fun to cover that when it happens because Massey will probably chew him up and spit him out, even if the GOP misallocates its money grossly so in this election. I still think they'll be fucked, especially if we have Daddy Elon's money coming in play here. But yeah, so Elon's throwing that out there. And then we have Massey responding to this. So I woke up this morning to find out Elon Musk is supporting my re-election. Elon's purchase of Twitter and cultivation of the X platform for free speech has already helped my cause immediately. It's allowed me to bypass conventional media, to refute the lies of both political parties, and to provide transparency about how Congress works and what's actually inside the bills we vote on. Exposing the worst parts of the big, beautiful bill and reasserting congressional war powers has recently earned me the ire of the swamp in a fight for my re-election. But my re-election isn't really about either of those issues specifically. It's a referendum on whether members of Congress can think and act independently based on what's best for the country, or whether all members of Congress must be reduced to rubber stamps for their respective political parties and swampy special interests. I'm especially thankful to have Elon Musk's financial assistance to continue my mission as an independent voice in Congress for my constituents. All right, and this is also kind of coming off of when I said this is like a... It's good that he's funding Massey, so I don't see any bad. What I'm getting at is there's been lots to do from Elon recently about how do I put this about a new party, which is, it seems like, I swear to God, it's like every fucking 6 months to a year, some disaffected political entity or some disaffected political player goes, this is fucking bullshit. We should have another party. It's like I don't know, the last one that comes to mind is Yang, which I don't know what the fuck happened with that. I don't know. I mean, so like, and then you have this, but it's kind of like, I mean, Libertarian Party was the original, the OG, and then you have the Greens, but it's like certain party point. It's like, come on, just let this, enough of this, like, we fell for it, but we're gonna do it different this time. And I mean, okay, go start the super duper Elon special. We're right and you guys are wrong party, but it seems pretty gay to me. I mean, have fun. I mean, it's cool if he's going to support people like Massey. That's great, but I still think politics are fake and gay, and it's literally psychic vampire shit, and they're taking your fucking, taking what is likely probably an intent for them to fuck you over less, and they're going to take that and manipulate it, and then they're going to find a way to probably take that little bit of psychic energy, the tiny little cunt hair of psychic energy you fed to them, and they're going to just spit it right back in your face twice as much. So we have a mandate for this thing that you really didn't actually want that much. A mandate. And now we've got to go kill brown people. Mandate. And, I know you wanted less taxes, but I guess we're not going to do that. But we'll murder brown people. So, yeah. All right. All right, let's get into this actual story. It's from Ken. He was blabbering about this a bunch last week, and I'd completely forgotten about this. I kept saying, Garland. I'm like, what is this Garland thing? Like, okay, what? Ken keeps going on about it. I just keep seeing it popping up in my timeline. I'm like, what? I guess it's got to be important, Ken. But I'm like, Garland, what the fuck happened to Garland? I'm like, Eric Garland? He's not even the fucking Garland. What happened in Texas? I couldn't remember. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, skimmed it. And you're like, the Prophet Muhammad thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, I vaguely recalled there was some, like, glowy shit to that. And we just all memory hold this. This is from, like, literally, like, 10 years ago. Well, I guess either there's more on this or whatever. We're taking a moment to back up. I haven't taken the time to read all this other than skim it. But Ken's making a big deal of it, and I trust my homie Ken, so let's go through it. So he says, this is from a article, it says, FBI still defending undercover agent who provoked Garland shooting, an ongoing appeal. So here we go. So, the 2015 ISIS-inspired shooting at a contest to draw the Prophet Muhammad in Garland, Texas remains one of the starkest examples of the FBI provoking a terrorist attack. In that case, FBI informants had been monitoring the shooters for years. The Bureau allowed one of them to purchase a weapon from a gun store involved in the Operation Fast and Furious scandal, and an undercover agent even encouraged the shooting by telling the attackers to tear up Texas. Perhaps most damningly, the same undercover agent who provoked the shooters was at the Draw the Prophet event when the attack occurred. Then, when local cops detained the undercover agent because they thought he was one of the attackers, other FBI agents intervened immediately. They placed a hood over the undercover agent's head and whisked him away to another location before confiscating footage of the incident from bystanders. Despite all these damning facts, the FBI continues to defend itself some 10 days later. In a brief filed weeks ago in an ongoing appeal, Justice Department prosecutors said the undercover FBI agent's presence at the Draw the Prophet contest was a total coincidence. The ongoing appeal is from Abdul Malik Abdul Karim, whom the government says conspired with the shooters Elton Simpson and Nadir Sufi ahead of the attack. Much of the information about the FBI's shady undercover activities was only revealed after Karim was convicted in 2016, and he's been seeking a new trial ever since then. According to the DOJ's March 26 brief, the undercover agent was at the Garland event as part of a sting operation against an unrelated person. So we're to believe that he showed up this Draw Muhammad thing, and he was there for an unrelated person for a sting operation. The unarmed undercover FBI agent was in Garland as part of a sting operation against an unrelated person. He did not know where Simpson was, and his proximity to the shooting was, as the district court found, a coincidence, prosecutors argued. Kareem's current appeal doesn't argue that his conviction should be overturned due to the undercover agent's actions per se. Rather, his lawyers argue that the U.S. government violated his rights to a fair trial by withholding exculpatory information, including about the undercover agent. Moreover, the FBI continues to suppress evidence about the Garland attack to this day, according to Kareem's brief. Information the FBI has yet to produce includes documents about its investigation of Simpson in spring 2015, information on Simpson's gun purchase in 2010, and whether Sufi's 2012 gun purchase was authorized by agents working the failed Fast and Furious gun-running operation. And more information on the attack and the undercover agent's involvement in it, according to Kareem's appeal brief. Kareem's lawyers and the DOJ are set to make oral arguments about the matter at an appeals hearing that is yet to be scheduled. According to the court document, the hearing could take place as soon as September. So yeah, they're still shielding the glowy. That thing, eventually, from my recollection, it was like the report seems like he basically saw it. So let's actually read this. This is here is the shooting. Let's read it actually. It's directly from the files itself. It says UCE-1 attempted to flee the scene, but he was stopped at gunpoint by Garland police. He was dressed in Middle Eastern attire, and the police almost killed him in the heat of the moment. He had his life saved by claiming he was an FBI agent. Okay, all right. So this is the UCE-1. So this is the glowy, the one that was supposedly for a sting on an unrelated person. Because UCE-1 attempted to flee the scene, but he was stopped at gunpoint by Garland police. So he literally tried to flee. And, oh shit, my bad. The cops stop him. He says he was dressed in Middle Eastern attire, so he was dressed like a Haji. The police almost killed him in the heat of the moment. He had his life saved by claiming he was FBI. He goes, I'm FBI. As UCE-1 was being questioned by local police, FBI agents suddenly arrived and stopped the interview. So literally, as he was talking to the police, explaining, they stopped him, placed a hood over his head, and then whisked him away to another location. The FBI then confiscated all video footage. This is a day after the attack. The DOJ sent an urgent firearms disposition request to Lone Wolf Trading Company. Oh. The Fast and Furious linked gun shop in Phoenix, seeking more information about the gun that Sufi had purchased, that the FBI proactively lifted a hold on the sale. Oh, shit. So they were able to show that the FBI had gone out of their way to lift the holding on the sale. So I guess there was some reason it was held. I mean, maybe they're going to say in a second. Maybe it got blocked. So let's see. Though pressed by the media and by Senate investigators, the FBI so far has refused to release any details, including serial numbers about the weapons used in Garland by Sufi and Simpson. The request raising the chilling possibility that guns sold during the botched Fast and Furious operation ended up being used in a terrorist operation against Americans. So it literally sounds like the Sufi guy, one of the guys who tried to shoot up the place, the FBI went out of their way to lift a hold on it. Now, I'd like to know why it was held. That could be interesting information for sure. All right, because was it being held because something came up in the background check? Was it like a state where there was a specific hold and the FBI said, "Oh, don't worry about that, normal legal hold. Just go ahead and give him the gun now." Like I don't know what was the hold. So all right, interesting to say the least, for sure. What else we got? All right, let's go through the chat. See what you guys gotta say. And where the hell is my? Okay, I put the one of these tabs in the wrong spot. So I was like, oh god, I thought I lost one. All right, let's roll the chat. See what you guys gotta say. Been a minute. See, Conspiracy Carpenter says, bro, I've been to court. Delane, only thing. Oh, I know what you guys are talking about. Oh, by the way, you said Delane or something. I mean, that might be the Idaho story you're talking about here, or Idaho, or the one that everyone's talking about recently with the firefighters. I know a lot of you guys probably be like, why isn't Jose covering this right now? We're almost certainly going to cover this tonight on Already Dead. So be there tonight. Pop in Already Dead, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Me and Austin. Austin had already messaged me. I didn't message him back because I passed on the couch last night. But I meant to message him back. But either way, he's spiraling on that. I've already read a bunch on it too. So I think we'll probably go into that quite a bit tonight. So yeah. So someone's saying the dude coordinated the police was a super fed too. Yep. All right, you guys are talking about yep. How do these patsy weirdos get guns? The feds help them. Exactly. All right, let's get into. Here's another one from Ken. We're going to continue on the Iranian hit squad angle. So here's a new book, says that national security officials working under the Biden administration told Donald Trump last September that there were Iranian hit teams hunting him inside the U.S., a claim for which there is no credible evidence. Thus far, the only publicly known hitmen involved in Iranian assassination conspiracies in the U.S. have been either undercover FBI agents or informants. The book, 2024, How Trump Retook the White House and the Democrats Lost America, also claims that Iran nearly assassinated Trump's former CIA director, Mike Pompeo, in Paris, France in 2022. It says in 2022, Iranians learned of the Paris hotel where Pompeo was staying and tried to assassinate him. He narrowly escaped, states a Washington Post review of the book. Washington Post admitted that the book didn't represent any evidence for its claims, such as law enforcement reports, witnesses, or other documentation. Instead, the book is largely underpinned by interviews with anonymous sources, according to Washington Post. The book says that the Trump campaign went to great lengths to protect itself from after receiving the briefing on the so-called Iranian threat. Trump switched planes for one trip after Secret Service agents grew especially concerned about his jet, which could be vulnerable to surface-to-air missiles with fewer defense systems than Air Force One. On the other days when Trump did travel in his own jet, Secret Services started flying decoy planes and driving down the runway behind him as he took off, extra precautions in case someone were to shoot at the jet. Trump's team began meeting at Mar-a-Lago for security sweeps instead of converging the airport. One time, an agent yelled at staff as they boarded, "Get on the plane as fast as you can. Keep your head down," the book reportedly says. The aides later learned were worried about snipers and missiles. The new book, which hits shelves July 8th, echoes similar claims made by Axios writer Alex Isenstadt, as well as intelligence analyst Sam Shumate, who told ex-CIA operator Sean Ryan in January that Iranian missiles had been smuggled into the country through a U.S. port of entry. Their intent was to take down Trump's plane, Shumate said. So Which I think I saw things of that being this thing going around again. This stupid fucking clip. Well, maybe we'll play that in a second. Let's finish the article and then we'll play the shoemate clip, because I think I saw that doing circles, doing the rounds again when the Iran shit kicked off. But we'll get into that. However, there has been no evidence released to support the above mentioned claims. As Headline USA has documented extensively, the only hitmen involved in Iranian assassination conspiracies have been undercover FBI agents and an informant. Additionally, the man who was busted for trying to hire these undercover agents has no known associates in the U.S., according to the BOP. Unfortunately, for those who care about the truth, it appears as if Trump believes what the national security officials have been telling him. According to the 2024 book, he would repeatedly ask then Secret Service Acting Director Ronald Rowe about whether would-be assassins Thomas Crook or Ryan Routh were sponsored by Iran. What is clear is that Iran weighed heavily on Trump's mind, Washington Post said in its book review. In February, Trump said he's left his administration instructions to obliterate Iran if he's assassinated. Oh yeah, you may want to make those incentives stronger for Israel. Let's go ahead and watch this dumb shit from the Sean Ryan show to see the stuff that was being floated around on here. That does seem to, I guess somewhat correspond with this. Let's go and watch it.
Entry in a legal point of entry along the border. I'd have to pull up the original reporting, but we had the actual.
So we now have Iranian missiles. Who knows how many inside the United States?
That is not something you're going to see in a lot of places. I didn't even want to talk about it. It was one of those things where I was just amplifying what he was putting out already, because I was like, man, I don't know about putting this out. But it was something we found was pertinent, because at the time, Trump was still campaigning. He was flying around, and there was the reports were their intent was to take down Trump's airplane. So at the time, Secret Service switched things up a bit, and allegedly, from what I've told, they started flying him around on charters for a while until they could identify and kind of mitigate that threat. But that was the reporting stream that was coming out at the time. Feds handled it off.
Yeah, now I don't know about all the Iranian missiles, but apparently they were scared, and these glowies were leaning into that scariness. So keep hearing shit going on out there. All right, let's roll the chat. See what you guys gotta say. But I don't mean this guy. All right, whatever. Sean Ryan glows like the sun. Hey boys. What's this guy saying? There's nukes in USA by cartel. No, he's saying that essentially missiles, Iranian missiles, managed to get over here. It's nonsense. You can just basically blur it out. But what you probably shouldn't blur out is when they say the quiet thing out loud. Big thanks to Rage Child for sharing this with me. Don't forget you guys can too. Tag me at Tagging Jose. But Max Blumenthal shares here a video, which we'll cover in a second. He says, last week we reported CIA Director John Ratcliffe was taking dictation from the Mossad and furnishing Trump with absurd Israeli disinfo about Iran's nuclear program. Mossad Director David Barnea has confirmed our report by singling out Ratcliffe as the key to his manipulation game. So this is this is a caption here. It says, Mossad Director David Barnea thanks the men and women of the CIA, including CIA Director Ratcliffe, for the outstanding partnership and support that turned the 12-day war with Iran into a resounding victory. I'm not sure. This might be in Hebrew, so I might have to read it. Oh, yeah. Probably just going to have to read it. All right, this is in Hebrew, so I'll go ahead and read it. It says, first, I would like to express great appreciation for all that you are doing, not only from the campaign's perspective, but the Rising Lion, but for months and years prior in which you had essentially succeeded implementing all of the operations in a right manner that brought us to an appropriate single moment, which was the starting moment of the campaign. There wasn't a single person here that didn't get deeply excited, not because of our success, but because we really understood the significance of the hour and the historic moments that we were implementing for the security of the state of Israel. I'm certain that none of us will forget these moments. I, in the name of our people, appreciate what you have done. I want to voice great appreciation to the Chief of General Staff and the IDF, to the IDF Intelligence Directorate and its head, the IAF Commander and the Force, for their partnership with Mossad and for achieving the objectives, which at first really looked like a fantasy. The state of Israel, thanks to the entire defense establishment, today feels like a different kind of state. safer, more powerful state that is ready for the future. I also want to voice appreciation and recognize our primary partner, the CIA, for the joint activity in operations that were manifested. So I think that's a key point. Also, to the director of the CIA, who supported the Mossad in making the right decisions that ultimately enabled this campaign. We will continue to open 7 eyes, that's creepy, on all the projects that exist in Iran, which we know in the most in-depth manner. Does anyone know anything about the 7 eyes? Does that mean something? Am I retarded? And that means something. That seems weirdly creepy and like symbolic or something. All right. We will be there as we were up until now. I would like to tell you over and done, but we must not forget that there remain 50 hostages in Gaza, 30 deceased, 20 living, who derived from our moral and ethical responsibility must be returned to our borders. I want to thank all of you again and to tell you that you are part of history. You are an inseparable and unforgettable part of what the Mossad did and does. Continue to work, blah, 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 blah. All right, so he's telling these people how great they are, So this is him thanking the CIA, saying, that's appreciate all your help, and heavily giving away the degree to which they were assisting. So that was pretty obvious. For those unaware, I know we recently covered on this show a couple days ago another one, anti-Semitism Congress something or other. I don't even know what this one's supposed to be. I think it was an October 7th something. I don't know, whatever. But I guess now we're giving $94 million in grants to Jewish organizations in order to combat anti-Semitism. So now we're just nakedly giving away money. So that's great. We also have a June memo, a memo from last month, yesterday and before, because what's the first today? I didn't realize that. First day of July, everybody. But there was a memo, I guess it was put out to denaturalize certain citizens, and it lists ending anti-Semitism as one of its main reasons. Trump administration is poised to denaturalize and deport American citizens who criticize Israel. Now, this is from this AF Post, which I do see them. I feel like this stuff's pretty true. So I mean, I don't know what. Maybe this isn't true. This seems pretty outlandish. But I mean, if any of you guys can find more on this, you definitely let me know, because that sounds nuts. Now, do I think they're going to do anything like that? I don't know. I would assume they would save it for criminals. But even still, the idea of that this is where we're at, where they're even talking about this in memos. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So, all right. Here's Alex Jones. Maybe should we save this for another time, or should we do? What are we at? Let's do one more thing and get out of here. What do you think? You guys want Alex Jones? Do you guys want Lindsey Graham as gay, or do you want Alan Dershowitz with kiddos? Or there's some Moshiach one too. I'm not sure. I think I'll save some of these for tomorrow. So you guys decide. I'll roll through the chat. You guys let me know. Alex Jones. Do you want Graham is gay? I got a good video for that one. I think I have a video for all of these, so we got a little video time to close out the episode today. So you guys want Dershowitz trying to bang kids, trying to lower the age of consent, or do you want accusations of Lindsey Graham doing gay stuff, or do you want what I think is probably going to be Alex Jones being a boomer con about Iranian sleeper cells? You guys let me know. But let's roll through the chat. Let's see what you guys got to say. Hubert says, y'all niggas know it's all fake and gay to get consent and give people something to talk about. It's all very, very, very gay. Exactly. Yep, that's what voting is. Just fake and gay. Oh yeah, the old, we don't know where they are or how they got here, but we know you should be scared. 7 eyes seems related to 5 eyes. 7 eyes is 7. Okay. It's a 7 nation spook. Okay, I knew that sounded familiar. 7 eyes, you're right. It's a 7 nation spooks that share intel. You are correct. It's like what, France, Israel, United States, some other European nations. I mean, I don't know. Britain probably has got to be in there. Britain, France. I don't know. Whatever. You guys get the idea. They have other countries spying people they want as a workaround. Yes, that's right. That's what it is. I knew it. It's It's usually shown as 7 eyes with an I, so it was weird that they wrote it as like EYES, like your eyeballs. It's kind of crazy how people latch on an idea like MAGA and go absolutely blind to everything. It's modern day magician wizardry. Sure is, Qbert. Or the Five Eyes. Actually, never mind. I was wrong because it's the Five Eyes is a joint intelligence one. That's USA, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada. Okay. I guess I don't know what the hell the Seven Eyes thing is. I guess you guys are complaining about that. I'm seeing a lot for gay stuff. I'm also seeing Dershowitz saying Lindsey Graham being gay is not a surprise. Let's do Dershowitz then. Fuck it. Let's do Dershowitz. Maybe we'll throw in a bonus one since I don't know. I don't really have much to say on this. So let's go ahead and play this. Here's Dershowitz trying to bang kids, I guess.
Consent has become incredibly political.
About 20 years ago, I wrote an article in the Los Angeles Times in which I said the age of consent for sex is way too high. It's 18 in many states. It was 18 in California. It's 18 in Florida. The average age where sex is commenced in California and in Florida is 15. So what the law was doing was making...
All right, enough with this pedophile real quick. Someone did say in the chat, I guess in the Five Eyes thing, I guess I thought they added 2. So like the reason why it's 7 eyes now is it's not 5 anymore. So I guess they added 2. So I don't know. So whatever. Enough of that. Let's get back into this child molester. For legal reasons, it's a joke. I probably actually should say that because this guy is legitimately litigious. So
millions of people, literally millions of people, criminals every day. So I wrote an article saying, the age of consent shouldn't be 18. They shouldn't have a law which so violates the norms of society.
Okay, keep going.
People are having sex at 15, 16, 17. All right, why?
Here's the thing, though. Which I don't know, maybe he'll get into that, but people do this. But most states, I get the point he's making. Most states usually have some, what do they call them, Romeo and Juliet clauses? Because I get it. If you're 18 years old and say you're a senior in high school, I mean, hell, there's a lot of kids are 18 when they graduate. I graduated at 17 because just the way was when I was born or whatever. But yeah, so you could theoretically, like, I guess you could be a senior. You could be a senior dating a senior. You could be an 18-year-old dating a 17-year-old, and like you could. But like that's why most states they have this. So seems a little bit stupid to bring that up, because I mean, really, the idea would be like, okay, well, if you're not within a handful of years, I don't know. Really, if you're within, 15 to 17. I mean, I really cannot. Really past like the teens. It's like you're really, really, really getting past the like level of me being able to give like oh yeah, you shouldn't rot in jail for the rest of your life or a long period of time. I mean, I guess like a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old, depending on the circumstances, like I wouldn't find it appropriate, but I could imagine there being a circumstance where I'm like, okay, don't lock up the lock him up and throw away the key, like. I don't know, maybe the girl tricked him, maybe whatever. And there's all sorts of, but just on its face, generally speaking, like I don't know, if you're in your 20s, I don't know, what are you doing with anyone in their in high school? But I don't know, weird hill for Alan to die on. Let's keep going.
Shouldn't a 17-and-a-half-year-old girl be able to consent to having loving, consensual, wonderful sex with an 18-year-old boy? Can't imagine.
Okay, well, this seems like a misframing of the situation. Who's arguing against this, though? Who? Like, show me this person arguing against this, because...
What hit the fan on that one? I was called a sexist, a horrible person by the left. So the age of consent has become incredibly political.
What was even the point of this? Okay. So there's a full episode. So this is what he chose to share. He says, the age of consent laws have been controversial, sparking debates on societal norms and legality. Visit the link below to watch the full episode. And here we go. This is a full episode. I'm looking. Here it is right here. Okay. Oh, it's playing an ad right now. I thought it was saying it was 1:37. Well, obviously we're not going to watch this, but I kind of wanted to. All right, it's 30 minutes long. It says SCOTUS upholds restrictions on transgender surgery and medication. My legal analysis. Oh, I see what he's doing here. Okay. All right. This age of consent, but he's tying it to transgender surgery, which frankly is just as much like, yeah, fuck you. Okay, so it sounds like it's not much better. So it's almost just like, this feels like a psych out. Like he literally was using the outrage of, as rightfully so. I mean, people should be outraged if you're trying to be like, yo, what's up with this age of consent? You're like, why are you asking about the age of consent? But it looks like he used that as an outrage mechanism to then siphon to this video about. So it's like he's like, I'm not even really like, even if you watch that video. So obviously from the jump, all myself included, you go, yo, dude, what the fuck is Alan Dershowitz talking about? Age of consent. And then you watch the video and you're like, you're talking about, you're trying to pass this off as just like, oh, I'm talking about 17 and 18-year-olds. Hey, no one's arguing with you there. So it's like, what a weird thing to bring up. And then when we get to it, we get this video, and now he's talking about transgender. So I mean, I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to go through time and watch it. Who knows? Maybe there's some legal example of a 17-year-old that wants to cut their dick off and flip it inside out or something, and I'm supposed to feel bad because they didn't get to cut their dick off and flip it inside out at 17, and they were almost certainly going to do it anyways at 18. Well, I don't give a shit. Still, no, I think the concept of age of consent still applies here as much as this guy tries to Jew it away. It's still there. And I know I could probably get myself in all sorts of, trouble in like going into a deep theory discussion on age of consent, because I am an anarchist. So in a certain sense, I'm not even calling for a government to do it. I think I said once when this, back when the whole Eliza Blue thing was a big thing, I said like the age of consent is the age at which I don't, I forget the way I worded it. The age at which I think it's no longer appropriate to essentially, I don't know, do fatal violence to somebody like that would do such a thing to my children, essentially, because it's like, yeah, that is kind of, it really is hyper localized, and I get it. There'd be a lot of parents that would abuse that and do lots of disgusting things, but I think it's probably preferable to the current situation. So, but either way, yeah, I don't know. That's a whole deeper discussion if you get into like how that would even work in an anarchist or libertarian society. But at the very least, I think we could say like, I mean, I don't know, especially if you're like, if that's the argument, if you're trying to be like, well, you libertarians are like, think about the context here. Who is this guy? It's Alan Dershowitz. He's a kind of a renowned lawyer for the elite. I mean, what's he probably best known for? Being, constant legal defense for Hillary and Bill Clinton. Essentially, Epstein stuff. Being a lawyer for Epstein. Supposedly got massages from underage, but he kept his pants on, supposedly. But his wife was always there. Also think it's kind of ironic, the weird contention about age of consent. I mean, let's be real, a lot of these, I mean, they do try to prop this Epstein thing up as like, oh, it's just pederasty, it's just 16, 17, 18-year-old, 15, 16, 17, Like, no, not just, I'm sorry, when Alan Dershowitz is doing untoward things with 15-year-olds, it's not just, like, no, this is fucking evil. And point being is, if you're trying to make this like, I mean, while we could have this deep argument about how this would even work, if you're trying to make some sort of like, oh, well, libertarians, you're whatever the fuck, people could just, molest children. You're like, this is literally, I mean, obviously for legal reasons, I can't say what I think he is, but like, look and behold, this is the state. The dirty, dirty, disgusting visage of the state, staring in your face, trying to manipulate you to be able to be allowed to take and devour your children and offer them up to Moloch. That's what you're looking at right now. I'm sorry if I think maybe it would be better if we completely inverted this and gave power to the parents. And that's not to say that it wouldn't be abused, but compared to what? So, yeah. Anyways, let me see. I don't know. What do we got? Should we maybe go through one more? I kind of want to watch this video on, let's finish off with Lindsey Graham being a homo. That's always a good way to end off an episode. Another behold the visage of the gay state. Here he is. So I guess Lindsey Graham got accused of having sex with gay sex workers. What other kind would he be having sex with? So gay porn star Sean Harding accused Lindsey Graham of hiring gay sex workers. Here's Lauren Witz. Apparently she covered this recently, so I figured it'd be interesting to hear her coverage with, I don't know who this other guy is, but let's see what she has to say. And yeah.
Wish I did not know.
Ooh.
So if you haven't heard, okay,
Juicy.
Lindsey Graham is among the Republicans who are degenerates. It's long been rumored that he's a homosexual, but no one has ever really come forward on this until now. So there is an individual. He's a male prostitute. He decided to come out through a post on Reddit. Now, I'm going to do my best to use my journalistic ethics and my speech to nicely explain this. Okay, I'm gonna explain this is what he said. This is from the male prostitute who reportedly was hired by Lady G, as he's called. When I came out of the bathroom, Lady G, Senator Lindsey Graham, was on the bed, naked, on all fours. I noted that there were dark marks around his anus. I asked if Senator Graham had showered. Senator Graham said yes. I asked if he was okay. If I wiped him down, Senator Graham said sure. I wet Senator Graham's face towel and wiped between his buttocks, but nothing was coming off. Then I realized that his taint wasn't dirty. It was just full of moles. Dark moles. In dense clusters up and down the length of his taint. Aw, Senator Graham said. Hope you don't mind. Those just my little ladybugs.
This can't be real.
Male prostitute ran out of there. This is his
It's just my little ladybugs.
testimony. This is his story, and this is his nightmare. I share this nightmare because you have to realize this is the norm. This is the norm. We have such a joke of a country. We don't just lose F-35s. We lose all our dignity. This is a U.S. senator.
Thought it was poop.
This is a U.S. senator.
Well, I always wondered where the ladybug, Lady G,
We know now.
Nickname came from.
Oh.
Now we know.
Oh my god, those my little ladybugs. Oh my god. Oh wow. Whoa. All right, let me read this again. So this is from the guy. It says the guy who supposedly, I mean, obviously, I don't know. This is completely. Who knows how legit this is? But I guess it's what they say. This is from. It's from gay porn star Sean Harding, so I don't know. I mean, you guys, any of you gay guys out there? I mean, I don't know. How big is this guy? Is it a big name? Is it a respected name in the gay community that we could take this on good authority with? Oh, okay. I'm not gonna. Oh, there's no point in reading this. This is just stupid. So fucking dumb. That is what we're doing on this show. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. All right, guys, if you like what we're doing over here, actually, let's roll through the chat real quick. That was fucking good. This is my little ladybooks. All right, where's the numerology's Kingsburg? Yeah, it's weird. Where the fuck is that guy? I think I really talked mad shit about his little cult leader, so he's gone. Oh my god, I think my eyes got a little wet there. That was pretty good. RBJ was for lowering the age of consent to like 12, says why as hell, can be 14. Yeah, it's creepy shit. Oh man, I needed that after that weird creepy fucking pedophile shit. I knew a dude in junior high who was dating one of my friends who was 27. Jesus Christ. Tried to tell her he was a creep, but she didn't interest in hearing me. Yeah, what a fucking weirdo. Lowering up the age of consent's a priority from the psychopaths out there. 15 and 20-year-olds. Yeah, one problem we have is dating in our culture. Everything should always be the objective of marriage. Yeah, I agree. Dating's gay. Oh no, not the ladybugs. This line, oh, my little ladybugs. Oh, those just my little ladybugs. I'd be willing to bet Graham is some dark S&M shit for sure. Yeah. Oh my god. Too funny to be fake, right? I just can't keep laughing about it. All right, guys. All right, let's get out of here. For those who like what I'm doing over here, hit the like button, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. Be my eyes and ears out there. Let me know about any good stories to cover. We have more stuff to cover tomorrow, so be back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. I don't really see any reason why I need to change the time tomorrow. Sorry for anybody if I threw off the time and that threw your shit off. But I mean, I would have still been going by 11. So like, hey, you just would have been a little bit late. Not a big deal. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. For the patrons, sorry I didn't put one out last night, but whatever. I would have put out 3 this week. So I'm probably going to put out like 2 this week. I passed out on the couch last night. But I do have my buddy Clint coming on tomorrow. Obviously, we have Already Dead tonight. Tomorrow, I'll probably knock out another one of my Wendy episodes. But for those who want to directly support the show, patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2 a month, and that gives you access to the early episodes. I've been doing like 1 to 2, even sometimes 3, or at least I'm going to try to get 3 one of these weeks. About 1 to 3 a week, trying to keep 4 behind the paywall at any given time, so you guys have weeks of paywall content. Also get the ad-free RSS feed there, and you get access to the pre-show, and you can get priority for the call-ins on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which is on Tuesdays today at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Goes out on both of our platforms, and it's a good place for you guys to hang out with us, shoot the shit, call in, all that. Any of you guys ever watch these morning shows, want to hang out with us, watch one of Austin's deep dives, and you're like, oh shit, I'd like to learn more about the Atlanta child murders, or whatever question you may have. Come on, even if you just want to fucking hang out. Come on. And that's it. To do that, you got to support me or Austin over at our Patreon. Oh, I keep forgetting. We also have a Telegram now, but you got to be a supporter. So I'll probably put that. I keep meaning to put that link out on the Patreon. I'll probably put that out sometime soon. But if you are a patron, if you're a supporter, I know you have ways to get a hold of me. So get a hold of me. I'll send you the link over. You can join the Telegram. This is also, I believe Austin's also putting out for his supporters too. It's supposed to be a dual supporting thing, just like the Already Dead stuff. It's basically an Already Dead Telegram, but it's for obviously for both of our shit. So hope to see some of you guys there. Telegram's been a really fun way to keep in contact with you guys. I know I'm really bad about Patreon, but Telegram's great. I really like Telegram. And I do try to pop in there fairly regularly, at least see what's going on. So, but yeah, that's patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The highest level is my sponsors. I read them off every episode. It's a big thank you to them. I'm my co-host, Tower Gang, or used to be my co-host, Tower Gang, at Tower Gang Toad. Also, oh my god, I gotta sneeze. Give me a second. Oh, that was a good one. You guys didn't hear it, but you would have seen it. It was a good one. All right. So yeah, my co-host used to be a co-host, Tower Gang, at Tower Gang Toad. Also at Abrogate D's. Met him over at not at Bro Grove, but the podcast I did with Sam and all them. Saw Abrogate out there. Cool to hang out. Cool guy. At ZOVRCK, at _Vince Seal, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebo, Will Bell, Delicious Blueberry Rabbit I Wine, big fan of the show, Torrent May, and then Jordan Peterson. And with that, we're out of here, everybody. Show up tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Hang out with me in Austin. Show up tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you want to show up for another morning show, tag me and shit, people. And yeah, also be putting out my paywall stuff tonight and tomorrow night. So if you want to show up for those live ones, you can too. But you got to be a Patreon for that. So all right, let's yeah. So Lindsey was probably so jealous of those dudes that railed each other in the Congress. Oh my God. So Jose, you are an N-word. I sure am. Rumor has it Jose has his camera at an angle so his small hat doesn't show. Yep. Let's do this move, and then you can never see it. So, all right, everybody, we're out of here. Love y'all. We is out on here. Out of here. All right, I got a fun little one for the way out. You guys can learn about how this legend was created. The old HH for Handsome Jose. See you all.
How did Ye officially find you?
It was actually my touring agent. When I got there, he told me to play him my album that I was working on at the time. I played it for him, and he was just loved every song. That's when he told me that he wants me to write his whole album. It was just me and him, essentially. And he was just like, yeah, in order for you to write this album, I feel like you need to get to know me better. And then he just starts telling me about his life while he's playing Last of Us on a giant IMAX screen. That's when he told me the Cousin story.
So you wrote all those songs?
Yeah, I wrote all that. The Cousin, the World War III, the song that shall not be named.
Right.
Everybody acts like they don't like.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
It had a great beat. Very catchy.
That's what everybody said. The beat was pretty good.
Do you see why people have a problem with it?
For sure.
Yeah.
When I made it, I felt like Oppenheimer. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did I just do?